Someone once said, questions make Christians. The idea of that is simply that if you can get people to think, if you can get them to ask questions, then you've got an opportunity to give them the answers that God provides, and it gives a place for faith to begin. I think questions are good for those who are already Christians as well. I used to say that I liked preaching better than I liked Bible study because when I preached, I didn't have to answer people's questions. It was a little more controlled. I knew what I was going to say. Sometimes questions in Bible study I didn't know what to do with. That's all changed now, though. As the years have gone by, I love the questions that people ask in Bible study. I like the things they have to say. I like the conversation we get to have. And so while I still like preaching, I like Bible study way more because it's collaborative. Over the last couple of weeks, the Bible study we've been doing and the sermons I've been preaching have started conversations. I've had people come and ask me questions about things. I've had people come and make some statements to me, and I think that's really good. I like the conversational part of it. We're able to teach one another, and we're able to help one another. I don't want it to be a full-on brawl where every week somebody's arguing with me, but boy, I like it when people have questions. So this week, we're going to answer some questions that you have. I've been teaching about the Lord's Prayer, and every time I teach about the Lord's Prayer, I get a similar question about the Lord's Prayer becoming repetitious or being just useless words or something we just repeat. Every time I've taught the Lord's Prayer, someone asks that question, and it's come up a couple of times in the last few weeks as well. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to answer why we should pay attention to the Lord's Prayer at all when it could actually become very repetitious and relatively useless to us. We'll answer that question. As well, someone else pointed out to me that the end of the Lord's Prayer in their Bible isn't in the normal portion of their Bible. Actually, the part that we know as the ending is down in the footnotes for some reason. So I'm going to explain that too. And in doing so, we'll learn a little bit more about the prayer itself, and we'll learn a little bit about Bible translation and what your translators are trying to tell you when they put in footnotes and all sorts of other things. There's lots of information given to us in our Bible that would help us understand it more if we understood what the translators were trying to do. And so we'll talk about that on Sunday as well. And then also we're going to talk about the things that Jesus says around the Lord's Prayer example that he gave. That's in Luke 11 and in Matthew 6. And go see what Jesus has to say about prayer in general. That will form most of our class on Sunday. Then, if you've been with us for the past couple of weeks, I've done 2 or 3 sermons in a row now from the book of 2 Timothy. And the theme of those lessons has basically been Timothy needs to learn to work not by his own power, but by God's. I've been trying to convince you for 3 weeks from Paul's letter to Timothy that our job is to find God's power, that we need to do God's work by God's Spirit, that there's no other way we can do it, that we cannot do anything spiritual that's going to last on our own. And so that might bring up a question to you, one that I've heard again as well. What does that leave us to do? If everything happens by God's power, am I just passively sitting around eating popcorn, watching things happen in my faith? Is it sort of like going to the movies or a hockey game where I don't do anything but watch? Not at all. Timothy actually has something he's supposed to do. In fact, it's clearly stated. What we need to avoid is trying to do God's part. But we must contribute the part that only we can contribute. What is that part? I'm not going to tell you. You've got to come on Sunday and find out. In fact, I'm not even going to tell you the title of the sermon because that might give it away. The answer's in 2 Timothy if you want to go try and find it. There is something we need to do. It's just not doing God's part. We have a part to contribute that's only our own, and we'll find out what that is on Sunday. As always, in the month of March, we're still going on with our lunches, and so please bring enough for your family, another family, in case we have guests, hang around, visit. It's such a good time. It's a good opportunity to connect and reconnect, to visit with some people that you really like and visit with lots, and to maybe visit with some people you don't normally visit with. Sit at a table where you don't normally sit. You might find out some interesting things and get to visit with some new people. I think I say this every Sunday, but this week's sermon, I really like it. I'm really looking forward to the things we're going to share, and I think if we really hear it, it could change a lot of stuff for us. I hope you're around to hear it. We'll see you Sunday.